Go get on the track.
Hi, my name is Sarah Wilson Gilmore. My co-host Tamara Bludorn and I wanted to come to you today with this podcast. Socrates once said, "Know thyself." Shakespeare said, "To thine own self be true." The Bible says, "Examine yourself." We believe that often people go through life living what they believe others think and say about them, often trying to please others, never truly achieving their own desires. What we think is that first you need to find out who you are and what is it that you really want to do. In order to do that, you must do some soul searching. Some self-awareness is what we actually want to call it. That's so important. And it's so important that we decided to do this podcast, and we're calling it Convinced and Confident. Our major topics will cover spiritual, social, emotional, physical, and financial health. In covering these topics, we hope to inform you, to inspire you, to enlighten you, and to give you tools that you need to begin the journey of self-discovery. Tamara, what do you think?
Well, I'm Tamara Bludorn. I'm a mom, a daughter, sister, a registered nurse, a personal trainer, and I'm many more things beyond that. I'm here on the podcast hoping I can help inspire or to bring hope to all of you who are looking and searching for more or for better for yourselves and for your family. Today's topic is about knowing thyself. Now, if we just sit back and think about that for a minute, truly, what does that mean to you and to me? For me, it means I have to sit back, uncover, be real about who I am. And that's the good, bad, and the ugly that I have to be real with in order to become that convinced and confident woman and to truly become true to myself. So one of the first things you might want to do is think about what makes you happy. What are your hobbies? What are some of the things in your quiet time you think about? And why are you thinking those thoughts?
Those are good comments, Tamara. And I'm on a different plane in that I'm a silver citizen, I like to call myself, who grew up in the South. By the time I was 13, because I was raised by grandparents, by the time I was 13, they were deceased. And I figured out kind of early that I was kind of on my own, even though my mom was there. By the time I was 15, my mother had another son, and I was basically responsible for him. If he was sick, I was the one who had to stay home from school to keep him. So what I did was what often young people do. I figured out that I had pretty good brains, and I learned to use them to take care of myself. Tamara, have you had any of those experiences? I'm sure my audience has.
Well, my experience has been I had family that was there and available to me for questions and guidance. But still with that, a person still has to sit down and discover who they are. Because if not, you start living out what others think is good for you or what they know better. And yes, you need those parents or those mentors to guide you and help you make some better decisions or good decisions. But you still have to sit down and be true to yourself. And I think that became later for me in life because I didn't have to make so many tough decisions early in my lifetime.
Right.
And when I think about it, I think a lot of my actions were on autopilot, the subconscious from what you've heard or seen. But through that, I still didn't know who I was.
Exactly. Whereas I was the opposite. I had to learn to take care of myself early. Actually, in high school, I was doing income tax, the short form, of course, for people who were adults at that time, because I had to. I didn't have a choice. So I married early. I married at 18. By 19, I had my first child. At 20, I started to college. So I was already making decisions based on what others thought. I was already doing that at 20. And sometimes you make so many mistakes in your life because you're young and don't quite know what to do at that time.
So the question is, what do you all believe gives you the self-confidence or helps you to become confident or a better person, just more secure in yourself? What do you believe, Miss G?
I believe, as the title and the subtitle of our podcast says, in order to be convinced and confident and to have that self-awareness, you have to spend some time with yourself. Know thyself. That takes trying some things, stepping out of your comfort zone. Those are the kinds of things you have to do. Of course, you don't know, everybody doesn't know at 18 or 20 what he's been called to do or what he's here to do. What are your goals in life? You don't know that yet. But what you do is you have to try something. Start working on your own dream. If you don't have a dream, guess what? Help somebody else work on their dream, because that then gives you the motivation to figure out what you need to do with your life.
Exactly. Instead of, you find a lot of people become jealous or envious,
Exactly.
those kind of things coming up. Instead, help someone else. And in that
Exactly.
process of serving or helping someone to their dream, you discover what you want and what your passions and also what your talents and skills are, which also helps you develop who you are.
Exactly. All of these things make sense. And that's why we chose to cover all of these areas: the social, the emotional, the physical, and definitely the financial. All of these areas are what it's going to take to make you develop a better life. It helps you to develop the skill sets that you need in order to have a better life in today's world. Because if you've noticed, and I know you have, I know my audience has noticed, things are changing rapidly, and you have to be ready for the change. So you do what is necessary to be ready for that change.
I think you're right with that, Miss G, because a lot of people I find as we get older, people get angry or bitter because they don't see their lives going where they thought. All the dreams they had at 20 is not happening what I thought was going to happen for my life. And they just give up or stop. And instead of doing that, just take a deep breath, reevaluate. As long as you're living
That
and breathing,
is true.
you still have time.
Exactly.
You might want to speed up the time some,
Yes.
but you still have a chance to do what's impactful for you, for your life.
Exactly. And let nothing stop you. You're going to have naysayers around you, no matter what it is you say you want to do. Once you announce it to your best friend, your family, or whatever, it's going to be some naysayers that say to you, you can't do that. But let nothing stop you. Just keep going until you achieve your own dream.
I agree with that. A lot of people will not keep going to achieve their own dreams. They just give up, stop, become depressed. You look at some people, sometimes they're in bad mood and you're in a happy mood and you wonder what has ticked this person off.
Exactly.
You didn't do it for the moment, but they just simply could be in a state of unhappiness because they're not happy with who they are, where they're going at the time.
And what I've found, since I'm a silver citizen, and I'm a happy silver citizen, what I found usually for women, by the time we get to be about the age of 40 to 50, if we haven't achieved what we believe we should have achieved or at that time, we kind of are not really happy about life. And instead of just complaining and moaning and being envious of others about it, our job is to sit down, try to figure it out, and to get up and take some action. Do something about it. I heard a man say one time, when you've dug and dug and dug and you're now in a hole, the first thing you want to do is stop digging. You can't pull yourself out of the hole until you stop digging, because you're getting deeper and deeper. Once you stop digging and start thinking about what it is that would make you happy, what it is you need to do, then you can make the necessary changes for your life.
That's so true. That's so true. And a lot of times, though, Miss G, what I would like to add to that is that usually we've set up the standards of what society says or what the world has said, what we should be or where we should be at this stage. And everybody's different.
Exactly.
So it's going to be different for everybody, the stages of growth and progress, or where your career is at the time, or where, if you're a mother at the time, all of those
Exactly.
things are different. So we need to quit comparing ourselves.
Exactly.
What you should do, if you are looking at others, which is fine to look at others and be inspired by them, is for it to make you move to do whatever you want to do for yourself.
Exactly. And that's where that quote that I mentioned earlier comes into play. To thine own self be true. Then it follows as the night does the day. Thou then cannot be false to any man. We thank you.
That's our show, and we thank you for listening. If you like our show, Convinced and Confident, please leave us a rating and download us on Apple Podcasts and Google Play.